What I'm about to show you is probably the single easiest setup in the entire market, and you're going to use it to pass your next round of funded accounts. Back in January, I used this to pass about half of my current Apex PAs, so super clean, super simple setup. Now, it does require a strong draw on liquidity, but I'm going to be going over the entire thing so that you guys can replicate that and maybe even use it to get, hopefully, your first payout. Now, I like to trim a little differently on my PA accounts, but let's go ahead and get into the setup. Now, obviously, a good amount of you probably already know about the power of three. We're going to be going over a specific example here and really more touching on why this is our manipulation POI and what this candle means in relation to the power of three here, and also drawn liquidity. So for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and really clear off my charts entirely, and we'll kind of just start really from the top here and go about our bias. So obviously today there was a very aggressive gap up. Now that is because of tariff news. So besides that though, we were bullish. I mean, day before, like, we're completely ready to break out here. This was a higher time frame PO3 and we had a clear draw on liquidity here. That one did get hit, unfortunately, during London session, but we had a new intraday DOL that we are going to be able to target. So let's hop on. So 4 hour, again, clearly bullish. Now this is a 2 p.m. PO3 example. Now we can see from the 10 a.m. one, we actually respected a 4 hour fair value gap. So that told me, okay, bullish PD arrays are still getting respected. We're not going to reverse here. We're just going to continue higher. Again, dropping down to the hourly. Really, you just want to go through all of your time frames and confirm your bias. Now, what I like to do is go through weekly profiles, daily profiles, open, high, low, close. This is just a basic look into exactly what I want to do. Now, if you want to know exactly the way that I go about daily bias every single day, I do have videos in my VIP Discord where I also live trade the PO3 nearly every single morning. If you do want to hop in that for completely free, just go ahead and click that first link down below. But again, if you want to dive into bias, check it out there more. But clearly, most of what we're looking for, are we respecting bullish PD arrays and disrespecting bearish? So clearly, yes, we have disrespected a bearish PD array right here with this inversion as well. So that was a big thing confirming our bias. Let's go ahead and drop back down to what we can see. Now, I like to target either a 15-minute or an hourly gap for most of my PO3 plays. Now, right before this new 4 hour candle opens, we can see we have an hourly gap that has been left open here. Now, if I also drop onto the 15-minute, there's also a 15-minute gap down here. But more importantly, there's an hourly gap. The higher time frame holds more power. Now, what have we already started to do? We have already started to accumulate. Okay. Now, a good amount of people would be like, oh, well, we accumulated and then we manipulated right here. So wouldn't we be wanting to go short off this play? No, because you're going against your higher time frame narrative. You want to keep a very strong importance over bias. A lot of people like to go against their bias, and you might catch a couple of scalpy moves, but if you're like me and you're trying to catch the literal move of the day, you don't want to be doing that. You want to have some patience. So we can go ahead and delete that. Obviously, this is still our accumulation range right here. Now, again, the reason we're targeting an hourly gap and maybe not like the first 1 to 5 minute gap here is because, one, we've had a fairly significant move up. So usually when we have something like that, let's take a look at how many ticks this was, by the way. Usually anything over 600 ticks, we're probably going to consolidate for at least an hour to form that hourly gap, which is pretty much exactly what we did here. Now, again, beside me, this is the 4 hour candle. We're looking for the 4 hour candle to put in its bottom wick, and that's going to be right here. Literally all we're doing is pairing time with price. Okay, we're pairing the price action of the PO3 with the timing of the open, low, high, close of the 4 hour candle. So go ahead and play this out a little bit longer. Now, as we can see, a lot of people would have gotten faked out by this leg right here. But again, you did sweep out a low, yes, but did we grab any internal liquidity? No, we didn't even hit that 15-minute gap or the hourly gap. So we're usually going to wait for that gap to hit. So a lot of people probably got faked out there. Now let's see this tap into Okay, boom. Taps into the gap. Instant reaction right there. Super, super quick reaction. So we actually would have been able to go long off of the inversion right here. We inversed not one, but two gaps right here. So that's exactly where I would have gone long on this trade. And again, more importantly, we put in the low of the 4 hour. Now, stop loss and take profit placement. Again, this is why I put a lot of weight on this. Again, if you want to know more about that and really just master the strategy as a whole, and you want to put in some hours, before we actually start trading on Tuesday, I made a super, super, super long and honestly really boring PDF. It's called the PO3 Bible. It basically teaches you everything you need to know about the PO3 and how to trade prop firms with it. So if you want that for completely free, again, go ahead and check out the second link in my bio there. That's going to help you guys out a ton with actually spotting the best PO3 setups. But anyways, we're longing an inversion there. Stop loss placement at the bottom wick of that 4 hour candle. I'm not going to put it right here. I'm not going to put it right here because, we still could get a pullback, right? My position's not invalidated if we just retrace to where the inversion happened. It's invalidated if we go down and break this low. And, if it does, maybe we'll re-enter. But I'm going to keep it down there. It's not even 100 ticks. So, again, you could very easily trim at the accumulation highs at a 2.8 risk to reward, but we made a high of day. So I'd probably take a couple of trims at the accumulation highs, and then I'd leave the rest to run to high of day. So we can see it's about a 4.5 risk to reward. We have, boom, our accumulation. Then we have, boom, step 2, which is our manipulation into that gap, putting in the low of the 4 hour. And then 3 is our distribution, which we entered right there. Okay, this is where smart money is entering. A lot of people will get stopped out by the manipulation phase or even faked out thinking, oh, this is the break to the downside. No, we're just grabbing internal liquidity to go target more external. So you can see this play out fairly quickly here to that drawn liquidity. Now, obviously, we saw a reaction off that high a day. So higher time frame, that might tell me, oh, maybe we want to range a little bit longer or whatever. But again, super, super clear trade. Again, you can use that to pass a decent amount of challenges. When Apex goes on a sale, that's usually the time you want to, go heavier into this. Obviously not financial advice, but if Apex has a 90% sale and I've cycled a couple of accounts, I'm going to grab, whatever I need to get back to 20 at that 80, 90% off sale and go ahead and take one of these trades. So if you guys do want to do that, you can just use code LOCKED at Apex. That's going to give you the best deal every single time. So again, with that being said, if you guys do want to hop in the Discord and live trade with me for completely free this week, I'm expecting a super good and volatile week. So just join with that first link down below, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys in there. Always feel free to reach out to me and ask me questions, but leave comments of what you guys want to see me do next. I'm going to be dropping a ton of videos here in the next few weeks. So